Hello, girls. Good night, everybody. How was your day? Oh, Elsie is here. Hello, girl. Let's do this. What about Mitch? Can you hear me, girl?
Yes, teacher.
Awesome.
How are you?
I'm doing very fine. Very, very good. With no issues. Very, very happy today. I actually, I have voice today better than yesterday.
That's nice.
Yeah, yeah, because I couldn't talk in the class so much. But now I can. No problem. Anyway, let's talk about first lesson. Yes, yesterday we were talking about these words that cause a lot of difficulties in our language, right? Why? Because they look very similar, they sound very similar, they probably like affects the way we understand some words. So it's very important to, number one, understand the phonetic of these words when American people are speaking, but also to know the difference between word families, because we have nouns, adjectives, pronouns, we have adverbs, we have the different word family characteristics. With a word family characteristic, you can match these words with a synonym or an antonym that can help you understand the word better. And for kind of a homework, if you have time to do it, of course, we needed to check this list of mysterious words that are usually confusing, which are full versus feel and others. That's what we are going to talk about in this moment. Before we pass to the list of words, we need to understand all the different words that we have been studying during the course. And the color code that we have been using establishes what is the application for every word so we can understand it better. In color orange, we have adjectives. Help me, Mitch, read what adjectives are.
Adjectives. Describe nouns. Structure, position in the sentence. They go before the noun or after the verb be. You can use more than one in sequence before the noun that it describes.
That's right. So an adjective is a word that describes a noun. If you have a noun, it is by standard the name of something. So if you think about the noun car and the adjective red, how do you use these words together?
Red car.
Red car. That's why we have point number one. They go before the noun. Red car. The color red goes before the car. After that, we have point number two. They go after the verb be. For example, how do you use the adjective red, the verb to be, and the noun car?
The car is red.
That's it. You see? So we are connecting theory, grammatical theory, with real application, right? That's how you can identify an adjective in comparison with other words that look very similar, such as adverbs and other words that look very, very similar to adjectives. The difference will always be in the characteristic of the word. Let's go now to the nouns. A noun is a naming word for things and people. There are countable and uncountable nouns. This is a perfect example of a common confusion of nouns is that, for example, in the previous level, we had the word certain and the word certainty. They look very similar. And both have the meaning of sure, or they share a connection to the word sure, which is an adjective. What is the difference between certain and certainty? Certain is a direct synonym of the word of sure. When on the other side is certainty is the fact, the feeling or state of being sure. When you are talking about feelings and states of being, you are talking about nouns. Take that as a note, because this is going to be useful to understand the difference between adjectives and nouns that look very similar. Questions in this case? Good. On the other hand, we have pronouns. Pronouns are substitutions that replace the noun in order to avoid repetition. That is not going to be very useful in this moment because there are no pronouns that we usually confuse. So forget about them in the moment. In this moment, we are only going to focus on words that look very similar to each other that make us confused. Then we have verbs. Verbs are also very, very complex to understand, especially because there are some that confuse us a lot. Look at the example. An example that I can think about is, for example, Mary. Mary and Mary. If you think about these three words, we can think about them as verbs, right? Because ed is a past participle or is a regular verb, and ing express verbs. No? But then why can we say I am Mary? In this sentence, what is this? The verb is
Adjective.
have. Exactly, Elsa. Very good. If you consider the words married in past participle, they can transform into an adjective. And we are going to see this in more detail later on. But yes, we can use the word married as an adjective as well. So this is a verb in simple form. This is a verb in past or past participle form. And this is a verb in ing form. This is an adjective derived from a verb. What do you think about this information? Confusing or understandable?
Understandable for now.
Well, for now, cool. Very, very cool. So as you can see, verbs and adjectives can be confusing too, because they look very similar, but the application and the characteristic depends on the family, the word family. If you understand the word family that they belong to, you can understand what we are talking about. These words will always follow the color code. Adjectives orange, nouns and pronouns are blue, verbs are green, and then we pass to the connectors, which are prepositions and conjunctions. They have different characteristics too. A preposition represents the position and location of a noun. For example, tell me the position and location of your phone. Where is your phone in this moment?
On the table.
On the table. Thanks to the word on, I can understand the position and location of your noun, of your phone. This is a preposition. These words that tell us position, location, and time. I almost forgot. Position, location, and time of a noun. At the same time, we can talk about movement, and this is one of the last classes that we saw in the previous level. How do you call when you, for example, jump from the exterior of a swimming pool to the interior of a swimming pool? What is the connector?
Jumping.
Jump in, incomplete. That's not in.
Into. Sorry.
Into, exactly.
Jump
You
into.
jump into the swimming pool because the word jump is a verb that represents a movement. And this is the difference between in and into. When you say in, the object is not moving. And when you say into, the object is moving. Another way, another group of words that usually get confused. In versus into. We confuse prepositions of place and or time with prepositions of mood. We usually confuse these two. Now you get what we are talking about. The reason we are talking about all this is because precisely we need to identify words that sound very similar, but they are not similar because they have a different connotation, a different meaning, and you need to pay close attention to the definition, application, and word family corresponding. So you can understand which words are correct to use and which ones are not. So we are going to practice using the list of words that we have over here. Let's start with the word full versus feel. Okay, both can talk about a cup of coffee, for example. But then what is the difference between these two? What do you know? Let's go one by one. Let's go with guessing. Do you see the difference between full and feel?
I am not sure, but I think that full is the adjective.
Nice.
I am not sure, but I can. I think feel is the verb.
Very nice. In word families, you are totally correct. Full is orange and feel is color green. The question is, how do you use them in a sentence?
For example, I can say my cup of coffee is full.
Your cup of coffee is full. Very good. You use it after the verb to be. And feel?
And I am feel teacher is feel of like the pronunciation is the same that the feel sad, for example.
Oh, very good question. Very good question. No. There are two different sounds in English that correspond to that sound, the sound that you are looking for. Okay? There is this sound.
E.
And then there is this.
E.
Okay? Usually, the second one corresponds to the letter I.
Okay.
So it's very different to say feel and to say bell.
Okay.
Okay? In this case, the pronunciation is bell.
So okay. The example is I am selling my cup of coffee.
Can you repeat?
With the verb.
Yeah.
So I am selling
I am filling
my cup of coffee.
Very nice. You are totally correct. Be careful. How do you pronounce this?
I am not no, I'm not sure.
Look at the symbols. How do you pronounce this symbol over here?
A. A.
Cup.
Cup. Exactly.
Cup.
Associate the sound A with the letter U. Usually the letter U sounds A. Cup, bus, Another one, I don't remember. But usually letter U sounds
Okay. Cup of coffee.
a cup of coffee. Good job. So guys, yes, it was totally correct. Take a note. Take a note if you didn't know. The word full represents the adjective talking about something that has no empty space. Something that has no empty space is full. On the other hand, fill, with a pronunciation, a very good question, by the way, yes, pronunciation.
Fill.
Fill is to make something full, that you make it full. So I am filling my cup of coffee. That's why the word refill comes from. Refill. A refill machine is a machine, is for you to refill your soda. To fill again. Questions or no questions? That one was easy. Okay, so let's go to something more complicated. Let's start with Carla. Carla, what do you know between lose, lost, loss, and lose?
The first one is noun.
The first one is the noun.
The next is a verb. The loss, I am not sure, but it's like perdidas. I'm not sure.
Oh, I don't know Spanish. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. The last one, I'm not
But
sure.
how would you
the
describe
name.
loss in English?
When you lost money or are active in the company, for example, maybe.
Okay.
It is part and
Okay, so
and
you are familiar with the word.
yes. But the last one I'm not sure the meaning.
Okay, let's talk about them. Before we pass to this, I want to check something because you spoke about actives of the company. We don't call them actives. We call them assets. Okay.
Sorry, teacher, I lost for my connection.
Sure. Let me repeat. We don't call them actives.
Okay.
The real name is asset, and
As
that's the word that we usually use in business English. A
okay.
person or thing that is valuable or useful to something or somebody, especially a company. And when we're talking about money, that's also very useful.
Okay.
Mhm. The opposite of an asset is a liability. That's also business English. Asset is positive, liability is negative.
Mhm.
Mhm. Now let's go to the mirror thing. The first one that you said was a noun. Is that right?
Yes.
Probably we need to
Mhm.
check what is a noun because that's
Okay.
probably something that is confusing us. Read the blue section, the noun.
Okay, nouns are naming words for things and people.
Mhm.
Yes, there are countable and uncountable. Yes, I
So
know.
the part that is important in this case is the part of the names, naming words. Because if you say, what is the name of this? How do you call this object?
Which one?
A cell phone. Cell phone is a noun.
Mm-hmm.
So every name is a noun. And it can be also things that you cannot touch. For example, love. Love
Mm-hmm.
exists, but it's not physical. Anyway, love is a noun.
Okay.
Therefore, lose is not a noun because it's not the name of anything,
Oh, okay.
right? Let's talk about that. The reason I am separating lose and lost is because lose is precisely the verb and is an irregular verb,
Okay.
to be unable to find something.
Mhm.
But the most common application of the word lose is the past. We never say lose in present because we don't usually lose things.
Mhm.
That's why the most common, the one that everybody is more familiar with, is the word lost,
Okay.
right? This is considered kindergarten English, for say something, because of the past. But we forget to memorize the present word. How do you use the verb in present? That will be, for example, I don't like to when I lose. I don't like when I lose my keys, for example.
Okay.
That's an application of the verb in present. So these first two are the same.
Okay.
The third one, you were totally correct on the definition. The best way to identify the family of the word lose is with the example that you just said. You said, when you lose an asset, you are speaking about the loss of something, no?
Mhm.
A good way to identify a noun is thanks to articles. The, a, or an. So every time you see the word the, a, or an, you are talking about a noun. Everybody should take a note about that one. So if you speak about the losses of a company, automatically you can say, ah, this is a noun.
Okay.
Loss, according to the there we go. Okay. I want to report the loss of a package. You see the article? Another tip that helps me, I want to include it here. A good way to identify a noun is thanks to the articles or comma possessives or indicatives. What are possessive? My, your, his, her, our, etc. And possessives, indicatives, these, that, these, and those. Articles, possessives, and indicatives are considered part of the adjective family because they go before the noun. All that information useful for you to identify the difference between one and another. Finally, lose. This is definitely and probably a new word for you. With double O. B2 vocabulary. Open your glossaries, everybody, and write this word that is specifically for you. Help me with the definition, Carla.
I'm not securely fixed where it should be able to become separated from something.
What did you understand?
Mm, I'm not sure, but maybe when some issue is not resolved or not fixed.
Okay, we need to check the definition of fixed.
Fixed for me, it's like an issue.
Yes, no, you are
It's a
using,
different.
it's a different word.
Okay.
Look at this, staying the same, not changing.
Okay.
For example, fixed prices. Prices that don't change, they are fixed,
Okay.
you know? And especially when you're talking about, for example, this one. Do you know held, the past of hold?
Yeah.
Held very strongly.
Okay.
For
It's like
example,
a keep, no? Keep a person in hold in this phrase, more or less.
different definition too.
Different. Okay.
Okay,
But
what
it's
is
like a
held in this
maintain the
case?
similar trend, no? Or similar trend strongly or not?
It's
More or less?
physically. It's physical.
Okay, yeah.
Imagine, for example, your TV mounted on the wall.
Okay.
When you mount your TV on the wall, it needs to be fixed very well. Because if it's not very well fixed, it can become loose. And if it's loose, it's going to fall. You know what I mean? It's physical.
Okay.
Held very strongly on the wall. In the definition that I gave you is of ideas and wishes. That's not the one that I want. Is probably, I mean, all the examples are talking about money, but it's not always about money. It can be also about physical stuff.
Okay.
So now let's talk about loose, not securely fixed, where it should be.
Um, mm, maybe I'm not what other words to use.
Okay.
But
If you don't know a synonym, give me an example.
for example, maybe that if you lost, for example, money, I'm not sure, but maybe if you lost some money, you are not sure that you recover this money, for example.
Okay. Recover.
Recover. I'm not sure if I understand.
No, that's very different. No, no, no.
No, no.
Not securely
Okay.
fixed. Let's talk about, we need visual representations. Loose. Look at these pants. Her pants are loose because she lost weight. Another example. This is super dangerous to have loose outlets on the wall. This is dangerous for your kids. Loose outlets are very dangerous for your kids.
Yeah, it's if you don't put correctly this and you, for example, in this place separate of the loose, maybe.
Exactly.
Okay.
The best way to learn this word is with the antonym fixed.
Okay.
Fixed versus loose.
Loose, yes.
Everybody on your glossaries, update these words and put loose, adjective, level B2, definition, not fixed.
Yes.
Examples, a loose outlet, a loose tooth. If you have a loose tooth, the mouse, I know in America is a what's the name of this fairy? The tooth fairy will visit you in the night. If you have a
Oh.
tooth loose,
Yes.
the tooth fairy is going to visit you in the night. Or loose pants after you lost weight. Those are 3 examples that I can provide to you. Amazing, right?
Yes.
Super cool. Elsie, what do you know about advice with Z and advice with S? Or any? What do you know about any of these 2?
I remember that you mentioned that advice with S is a verb.
Classes ago.
Like a, is like give a recommendation,
Exactly.
and with C is recommendation.
In recommendation per se.
The
Exactly.
noun.
Noun, very good. Elsie, good memory, eh? Very good, Elsie, very good memory. One of these is the verb. And precisely we have, oh no, here. Advice with C is the noun. It's an opinion, it's a suggestion. So in a sentence, you need to write it correctly. If you say, for example, I need to go for an expert. I have a problem, a legal problem, and I need some advice. In this exercise, in this sentence, you need to write it with C. But if you write it with S, you need to use it as a verb. I advise you to go to an expert. Look at this example. I would strongly advise against going out on your own. Etc., etc.
Is this phonetics?
Is
Is there a difference in the phonetics? No.
no difference.
Okay.
Well, look at this. I found one. The only difference would be that the C sounds like an S,
Advice.
and then SE sounds like a Z. Advised.
Advise.
Yeah, but it's very, very tiny. It's very small, the difference. Many people don't emphasize on this difference.
Okay.
Anyway, good job. Advice is a verb versus advice is a noun. If this is new for you, update your glossaries, guys. As you can see, we are going to use the glossaries a lot. So I strongly recommend you do your glossaries. And if you have it digital, let me know so we can link and I can see your notes. Okay. Let's go with the next one, right? Mitch, what do you know between alternate versus alternative? Are you there, Mitch?
Yes, I'm
Hello.
thinking.
Okay. Sorry, I thought you had disconnected. Okay.
I am here. Uh, I don't know the difference. Also, I don't know the words.
Wow. Okay. So this is new for you.
Yeah.
Glossary time. Alternate. This is C1 word. It's a little bit complicated. Read the definition.
Okay. Happening of or following one after the other regularly. Ah, okay.
So it's one and the other, and then the other, and then the other. And this specific definition is very similar to the verb to alternate something. To alternate A and B. You see? So it exists as an adjective, like alternate. I really like to listen to music with alternate genders. First one is rock, and then I have a classic, and then
Okay.
I have reggaeton, you know, and it's alternate songs. And then alternate as a verb can be, I alternate my music when I go to the gym.
Okay.
You
It's
see
the
it with me?
action.
Is the action.
Alternate. Okay.
That's the verb.
Yeah, that was new.
That was useful. Okay.
Yeah.
Me too.
I
Oh,
didn't know
yes.
that.
That's a very useful thing to distinguish between the two with two different examples, and it matches. It connects. As an
Okay.
adjective, you can also talk about an alternate reality or alternate timelines. The very popular right now.
Um, okay. And maybe on work too. Like I work alternate Saturdays.
For example, when you go one Saturday but not the next one.
Yeah, because I saw the sentence. Jen has to work on alternate Saturdays.
That's correct. Mhm. You can copy
Okay.
that example if you want. Mhm. Good. Good
Okay.
job. All that goes to your glossary directly. On the other hand, we have this. Mitch, help me with this one.
A thing that you can choose to do or have out two or more possibilities.
But can you tell me the word?
Ah, sorry. Alternative.
Right. Right. A thing that you can choose to do. So we have one alternative, or there's no alternative. This is the only way. Right? That's an easier word. Much easier. Any questions? Alternate versus alternative. Super cool. Let's go to the next. Beside versus besides. Jesse, do you know this word? yes, he's not there. So let's go with Carla. Do you know this word?
Beside, I'm not sure what is, but it's similar to next to
Ah,
preposition,
correct.
but I am not sure if it's beside or besides. I don't
Wow.
remember.
Okay.
And the other I am not sure.
Well, you're totally correct. When you say beside as a preposition similar to next to, yes.
Okay.
So I always keep my phone charger beside my bed. And there are many songs about it. Oh, there's actually a B2 word, eh? You should everybody take note on that one. All the class. Beside, next to, or at the side of something or somebody. There are always romantic songs that say, I need you beside me, you know? They're always saying that. So that's another source of examples. If you find a song that has a connector beside, copy that example. The word besides is very totally different. Okay? It's a preposition, but it's B2, and this is new for everybody. So please take a note, and Carla, help me with the definition.
In addition to somebody, something, apart from somebody, something.
Read examples so you can get more familiar.
Yes, we have a lots of things in common besides music. Besides working as a doctor, he also writes novels in his spare time. I've got no family besides my parents.
So I'm going to teach you how to extract a synonym from the definition. In the definition of the dictionary, there is always going to be one word that is exactly the synonym, the direct synonym. It should be the same family. So the best synonym for besides is in addition to. If you look for in addition to completely, you're going to get it as a preposition altogether. Additional to that, apart from. You know that this is a synonym because you will be able to substitute and replace the original word with the corresponding synonym in an example. Look at this. We have lots of things in common apart from music.
Okay.
You see, and it matches better.
Yes.
We have lots of things in common in addition to music. That sounds not so cool. I think apart from sounded better, but here it is. Any question? Beside versus besides?
No, it's very clear for me. But only it's common to use besides, or it's more common to use apart from, in addition. What is the best way?
I would say besides.
Besides, okay.
Because the word apart from is more similar to Spanish.
Yeah.
And something that we should focus in this specific level is to avoid using words that sound like Spanish.
Okay.
I recommend you that strongly.
Yes.
So
okay.
cognates and words that like sound like translations are usually or incorrect or formal.
Okay.
So let's try to adapt to this alternative.
Okay.
job, Carla. Very, very good job. Let's go with Elsie. What do you know about compliment versus compliment?
Compliment is, is a noun,
Okay.
but I don't really know about compliment.
Okay.
I never see that one.
Let's talk about the pronunciation because I think compliment sounds similar, eh? Comple.
Come.
It's not complete.
Compliment.
Sounds very like complete. All right. And this is the definition. Go and see.
A comment that express price? No.
Expresses.
Expresses price
This one is
or
difficult. Yeah. Let's go.
praise?
Praise.
Praise.
To
Praise.
praise something is to approve and to say, wow, like wonderful, you know?
Okay. A comment that expresses praise or approval of somebody.
Mhm.
Mm, uh-huh. To pay somebody a compliment.
The word praise is an issue, no?
So,
Let me help you. Actually, I
a
want,
noun?
when I clicked on praise, exactly, compliment is a noun. You are
Okay.
correct. So in a moment, I help you with the definition. I just want everybody to make a parenthesis and let's write compliment. Sorry, praise.
Praise.
It's B2, and these are words that show that you approve and admire somebody. In religion, they usually say praise to the Lord. Thanks, you know? This is because you are showing admiration to the Lord. So a compliment is a word that shows, or a comment that shows praise.
Okay.
For example, I think that people who study a second language are very mentally active. People who learn a second language are very mentally active people. You would say, oh, teacher, thank you very much. I will take that as a compliment.
Okay.
I will take that as a compliment.
Okay.
This is a comment that expressed praise to you.
For example, when a man wants to date with a woman, they always said nice. No, compliment.
Compliments, parentheses, like, yes, these men, no? They are very bad men. They always express compliments. And you know what? Your example reminds me that compliment exists as a verb too. So you can say that when somebody wants to date you, they compliment you as a verb. Compliment as a verb is level There's no information in the level. But it's the same, is to tell somebody that you like or admire the person. There you have it. They are not lying, Lucy. Very bad. Everybody likes. Everybody, right? Very good, guys. There you have it. So as you can see, knowing this information can become super useful in order to understand correct application of words. Even for the spelling. If you are writing, that's also going to help you in order to construct and build your words together. Because some people collocate verbs after an adjective, and that is grammatically incorrect. Or they are going to confuse the verb and they are going to collocate the verb to be, for example. They usually say, I am agree. That's a very common mistake, that if we understand that agree is a verb, I can say, so I need to eliminate the verb to be. This type of information is the basic information you need to understand in order to produce your language correctly. So in your examples, I'm going to correct you using this information. Do you have any question right now?
Teacher, the verb and the noun have the same pronunciation?
Complement and complement?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they sound very similar. Use a complement. Oh, wow. It's the same.
It's the same.
Mhm.
So I cannot notice the difference for context
Exactly. By
by
context.
context.
That's the only way to know the difference. Mhm.
Okay.
Hashtag English. Am I right? All right, girls, you did a great job. We finished for today. If you want to do a little research on the other three, that's going to help you a lot. And let's talk about the video tomorrow. Study your vocabulary, okay? Update your glossaries. I want to know, okay?
Thank you. Good night.
Bye, guys.
Teacher.
See you, girls.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later.